lost my heart and hope to die. Welcome to my dark side.
Our story continues with Goku appearing without warning directly behind a frightened and bothered Pain, his imposing presence sending a shockwave through the air. Pain recoiled, shocked by the sudden appearance of Goku. "You are the mastermind behind this operation," Goku said, his voice low and powerful. With a quick glance over his shoulders, Pain looks, and immediately jumps back, adopting a defensive stance as if his instinct had detected danger. He could feel his own body being taken over by fear, but he refused to show it, as he refused to look weak in front of his men. "Shinraten," yelled Pain, his quick hand signs moving like the wind. But through all his efforts, it appears that he wasn't quick enough. Goku was too fast for the shinobi. In a swift, fluid and graceful movement, Goku instantly cut down the shinobi, splitting his body into two separate halves. Goku was a menace. After cutting down Pain, his expression was pale, showing no sort of compassion for his enemy. Soon, he spoke. "Without the brain, the body can't function." Instantly, a gruesome scene had shown Pain lie in his own blood, with his bottom half nowhere in sight. "It would be wise to surrender now," yelled Goku, his head held high as he towered over his opponents. His confident stance and powerful aura exuded an unbreakable strength. "You people have no chance against me. My power is too much for this planet to handle." Immediately, in the middle of his speech, Goku was caught off guard as something mysterious grabbed his arm. The attack was out of nowhere as the Saiyan failed to predict it. In his mind, he thought that Pain was dead, but he quickly realized that the shinobi he was facing was much more formidable than he had anticipated. "What the?" Goku exclaimed, trying to shake off the grip on his arm. He struggled, but it was no use, he was trapped. As Goku surveyed his surroundings, he was struck with a sense of dread. Standing before him was a figure shrouded in mystery, but one thing was clear was that they were members of the Akatsuki. Despite his extensive knowledge of the organization, he had never encountered this particular member before. He realized too late that he had underestimated their power, and now he found himself in a dangerous situation. "Your soul belongs to us," shouted Chikushodo, the animal path of Pain, as he stepped forward. His piercing gaze locked onto Goku, daring him to make a move. "We've got you now, there's nowhere left to run." Chikushodo was a formidable opponent, his imposing stature and piercing red eyes instilling fear in those who faced him. Despite his daunting appearance, Goku was not one to back down from a challenge. He stood tall, his muscles tensed and ready for battle. Chikushodo tightened his grip on Goku's arm, showing its immense strength. Little did Goku know, the figurehead he was facing, the Diva Path Pain, was just the tip of the iceberg. Pain was actually the leader of a group known as the Six Paths of Pain. This group consisted of 6 individuals, each with their own unique abilities and personalities. The group was made up of the Diva Path, Asura, the Animal Path, Preta, the Human Path, Naraka, the Naraka Path, Naraka, the Outer Path, Garuda, and the Rinnegan-wielding leader of the group, Nagato himself. Together, these 7 individuals made up the 7 Pain. Goku soon realized that he was not just facing one powerful opponent, but a group of 7 individuals, each with their own formidable abilities. The fight ahead was going to be much more challenging than he had anticipated. Goku stared in total astonishment and fear at the towering figure before him, the King of Hell. Its aura of malevolence was suffocating, and Goku couldn't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up on him. Suddenly, to Goku's surprise, the King of Hell instantly started to draw his spirit inexorably towards his gaping maw. Goku could feel his spirit being dragged towards its mouth, and he knew that he had to escape its grip. As he drew closer and closer to its mouth, Goku felt the very fabric of reality warp and twist around him. The King of Hell was one of Pain's most ancient and powerful jutsu, and as Goku stared into his dark and unknowable eyes, he could feel his soul being pulled into the void. But just as it seemed that all hope was lost, something miraculous happened. As if he were a gag character, with lightning-fast reflexes, Goku had yanked his own spirit back into his body, narrowly escaping the jaws of the King of Hell. The battle was far from over as Deidara, the cunning ninja from the hidden rock village, had planted one of his deadly insect clay bombs on Goku's back. With a sly smirk, he shouted "Katsu," and triggered a massive explosion that shook the entire battlefield, its deafening roar echoing for miles around. The blast was so intense that it sent Goku hurtling through the air, his body taking the full force of the explosion. His skin was scorched and torn, his clothes shredded into tatters. As he crashed to the ground, his body smoking and battered, he felt an intense pain spreading through his left arm. It was then that he realized with horror that he had fallen victim to Pain's jutsu, a powerful and terrifying ability that allowed its user to devour a victim's spirit. The monster had already consumed the spirit from Goku's left arm, leaving him weak and vulnerable. Despite the devastation wrought upon him, Goku refused to give up. He was now more excited than ever, signaling that the battle was far from over, and he was headstrong on continuing the fight. Goku watched in shock as the King of Hell began devouring the top half of Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki. The ghastly spectacle sent shivers down his spine, and he muttered to himself in disbelief, "What is going on here?" Just when he thought he had seen it all, Pain stepped out of the mouth of the King of Hell, revealing himself to be unharmed. Goku was taken aback by this sudden turn of events, and his mind began to race with confusion. With a cold and calculated voice, Pain spoke once more, his eyes fixed on Goku. "Killing us will get you nowhere," he said. "We can't be defeated." Goku faced Pain, his eyes focused on the Akatsuki leader. He was prepared for the next attack and had a fierce determination burning in his eyes. Suddenly, Pain yelled from a distance, "Itachi, report. Is Plan B is going well?" Goku didn't flinch. Immediately Itachi responded, "His left arm doesn't seem to have any chakra shield anymore. It's now a soulless limb, as frail and weak as ours." Goku wasn't afraid. Instead, he saw this as a fun way to challenge himself. He knew that the Akatsuki were taking advantage of his weakness, and he deep down liked the thought of them thinking that they had the advantage. His left arm may have been vulnerable, but his spirit was strong, and he was ready to face whatever came his way. "Excellent," responded Pain with a cold smile. "We'll continue. Kakuzu, Hidan, it's your turn. Kisame, place a thin layer of water on the surrounding area." Goku remained focused and prepared to face whatever the Akatsuki had planned for him. As Kakuzu and Hidan charged towards Goku, Hidan let out a maniacal laugh. The thrill of the fight was intoxicating, and he was more excited than ever to take on the powerful Saiyan. Kakuzu was just as eager, his multiple arms flexing in anticipation of the battle to come. Sasori, with his puppet army, descended from above, his mechanical creation swarming towards Goku with deadly precision. Kisame had also joined the fray, moving with surprising speed as he followed Pain's orders to cover the battlefield with water. Goku's eyes blazed with determination as he faced down his opponents. He could feel the energy coursing through his body, and he was ready to meet the Akatsuki head-on. The battle continued to rage on, with the Akatsuki throwing everything they had at Goku. The puppet army was the first to attack, but Goku quickly dispatched them with a flurry of lightning-fast strikes, his fists moving so quickly that they were barely visible. But as Goku's attention was focused on the puppets, Kakuzu saw his opportunity and quickly sprang into action. With a fierce grin on his face, he detached his arm and sent it flying towards Goku, hoping to catch the Saiyan off guard. But Goku was too quick for him. With lightning-fast reflexes, he used instant transmission to teleport above Kakuzu, grabbing the rogue ninja by the head and slamming him hard into the ground. The impact was so powerful that it created a shockwave, sending Kakuzu flying across the battlefield. As Goku surveyed the smoldering battlefield, his eyes scanned for any signs of movement. Suddenly, he was rushed by several more of Sasori's deadly puppets, their twisted metal limbs lashing out with deadly force. The battle raged on with no respite, leaving Goku in astonishment. With lightning-fast reflexes, he leapt high into the sky, soaring above the battlefield. The rush of adrenaline coursed through his veins as he prepared for the next onslaught. "I don't know what they did to me," he growled through gritted teeth, "but I can't seem to increase my ki in my base form." A fierce determination burned in his eyes as he locked onto his enemies, ready to take them down one by one. Finally, he said with a feral grin, "This is getting a little bit more exciting." However, the Akatsuki had indeed taken full advantage of his vulnerability, and the odds were not in his favor. As he scanned the battlefield, he suddenly felt a jolt of pain in his left arm. Deidara, the crafty bomber, had once again taken him by surprise. His insect clay bombs exploded in a brilliant flash of light and sound, engulfing Goku in a maelstrom of fire and debris. Though he tried to dodge the blast, he had not been fast enough to escape unscathed. The explosion was massive, the force of it rattling the very ground beneath his feet and causing trees to topple like matchsticks. Goku's left arm hung limply at his side, the pain radiating through his body. Blood seeped from the corner of his mouth as he gritted his teeth and tried to ignore the agony. With a low growl, he gripped his wounded arm and tried to force it to move, but it refused to respond. The night was dark and ominous, a fitting backdrop for the unfolding of a diabolical plan. The air was thick with the stench of burning rubble as the group of sinister figures gathered around their leader, Pain. Quick notice guys, after you have finished watching this video, please do your boy a favor and subscribe to my second channel. The link can be found in the description and comment section below. Thank you. Kisame, you know what to do, said Pain, his voice dripping with a sinister edge as the plan was coming together. Kisame smirked at his boss's words, his eyes glinting with fierce determination. He knew what was at stake, and he was ready to do whatever it takes to carry out the plan. With lightning speed, Kisame rushed towards the scene of the destruction. Amidst the debris, he spotted Goku's left arm, torn off in the explosion. As he lifted the dismembered limb, Kisame couldn't help but feel a shiver of excitement run down his spine. This was a crucial part of the plan, and he was about to set it into motion. Meanwhile, Kakuzu was recovering from the brutal attack he had sustained at the hands of Goku. Despite his immortality, he knew that the power of his adversary was formidable, and he couldn't afford to let his guard down. Even though I am immortal, I have a feeling that this guy can definitely kill me, he muttered to himself, his eyes scanning the area for any sign of danger. In the distance, Hidan and Kakuzu watched as Kisame levitated Goku's arm towards them. Hidan couldn't resist the opportunity to make fun of his comrade. Ha, ha, he made you look so lame, he taunted, relishing the moment. Kakuzu, however, had no time for Hidan's childish games. He had a job to do, and he was determined to see it through to the end. Hidan, can you just shut up and do your part? He snapped, his voice cutting through the darkness like a razor. Yeah, man, this is priceless, Hidan replied, his tone full of glee as he picked up Goku's arm. As the group worked together to carry out their plan, the tension in the air continued to grow. Hidan's eyes gleamed with excitement as he relished the moment. He had been eagerly waiting for this moment, and now it was finally here. He locked onto Goku's arm, drawing out the precious lifeblood he needed to activate his jutsu. As he performed his dark ritual, Pain watched on from a distance, his eyes fixed on the unfolding scene. Everything is going as planned, he said, a hint of anticipation in his voice. With any luck, we can penetrate his chakra shield and inflict some serious damage. Hidan's grin widened as he savored the rush of power coursing through his veins. Ah, he exclaimed, his voice dripping with satisfaction. He drew his blade from its sheath, admiring the sharp edge glinting in the dim light. They think I'm stupid, those fools. Week after week, they warned me not to kill you. But I listened, oh yes, I listened carefully. And I noticed something they failed to mention. They never say a damn word about the level of pain I can inflict upon you. He yelled as with a swift, practiced motion, Hidan plunged his blade into his own chest. Down boy, said Hidan as Goku's body hit the ground with a sickening thud. The sound of his lifeblood dripping onto the dirt filled the air. Hidan's sadistic grin only grew wider, and he took a moment to savor the sight of his fallen foe before turning to face Pain. As I thought, said Pain, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Our plan was a success. He surveyed the scene before him, taking in the sight of the fallen warrior and the pool of blood that was rapidly expanding around him. And that's it for today's video guys. Stay tuned for part 15, to see what challenges Goku faces next. If you support Dragon Ball fan fiction stories, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Also, for more content relating to different manga and anime stories, subscribe to my second channel as well. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I can see you guys in my